Stop scrolling. There is a 400-pound animal standing 11 feet from where you are lying down right now. It can see you. It can smell you. It hasn't eaten in 4 days, and it's not going to touch you. Not because it's full, not because it's scared of your campfire, because of something wired into its brain that scientists only proved a few years ago. And once you hear it, you'll never sleep outside the same way again. Right now, on every continent except Antarctica, there are predators that could kill an unarmed human in under 10 seconds. Lions, wolves, bears, big cats with jaws that snap femurs like breadsticks. But here's the part that doesn't add up. For 2 million years, our ancestors slept on open ground. No walls, no locks, no 3 a.m. panic buy pepper spray. Therefore some invisible force, was doing security detail on the human species before humans even had a word for safety. I'm calling it the ghost shift, and by the end of this video you'll understand why it's the reason you're alive to watch it. Picture this. You're camping. It's 11 p.m. You just heard something snap outside the tent. Your brain does the thing, the heart in your throat thing. You lie completely still, eyes open in the dark, doing math on how fast you could unzip a tent versus how fast a bear can run. This is what I call the 3 a.m. audit, that specific universal human panic where your body assumes it's about to become dinner. But here's what almost nobody knows while they're lying there sweating. Statistically, you are safer asleep in a tent in bear country than you are driving to buy the tent. Therefore, the fear you're feeling isn't protecting you from a real threat. It's an alarm system installed by evolution. And like most old alarm systems, it's a little glitchy, going off for reasons that stopped mattering 10,000 years ago. So why does the alarm exist at all? Because for most of human history, it was firing at something that actually wanted to kill you. 2 million years ago, our ancestors were not the apex predator. Not even close. We had no claws, no fangs, no fur thick enough to matter. We were slow, soft, and worst of all, we slept for 8 hours a night, completely unconscious, completely blind to danger. Every single night was what I'll call the vulnerable window. 8 hours where a lion, a hyena, a saber-toothed cat could have ended the entire bloodline in one bite. But humans didn't go extinct. Therefore, something changed the math. And that something was fire. Roughly 1 million years ago, our ancestors gained control of flame, and it rewrote every predator's risk calculation on Earth. Here's the trade-off predators are forced to make every single time they consider attacking a human. Risk versus reward. A gazelle gives a lion meat and almost zero risk of injury. A human gives a lion meat, but also fire, tools, group defense, and screaming that summons more armed humans. Predators evolved to recognize humans as the bad deal, a meal that's statistically more likely to hurt you than feed you. But that still doesn't explain sleeping humans specifically. A sleeping human can't fight back. No fire, no weapon, completely defenseless. Therefore, scientists went looking for the real answer. And in 2019, they found something nobody expected. A team of biologists, Liana Zanet and Michael Clinchy, ran an experiment in South Africa's Greater Kruger region. They set up hidden speakers at watering holes across the savannah. Then they played sounds to wild animals, lions, leopards, elephants, rhinos, over 1,000 encounters total. Call it the voice test. Some speakers played the roar, the most terrifying predator in that ecosystem. Other speakers played something else entirely. Humans just talking, calmly, having an ordinary conversation. But the animals didn't react the way anyone predicted. Therefore, the results, when they published them, stunned the entire field of wildlife biology. Animals fled from the sound of ordinary human conversation almost twice as often, and dramatically faster than they fled from actual lions. Let that sit for a second. Lions, the deadliest land predator many of these animals will ever encounter, triggered less fear than a human voice at a normal volume. Even lions themselves were more afraid of humans than they were of other lions. Here's why this makes evolutionary sense, even if it feels backwards. Every other predator on Earth attacks with body, teeth, claws, speed. Humans are the only species that learn to attack with tools we invent on the spot. Spears, arrows, traps, poison, and eventually guns. We became what researchers call the ultimate super predator, an animal whose danger can't be measured by size or speed, because it might kill you from 30 feet away without ever touching you. But a predator can't calculate a threat like that on instinct. Therefore, evolution did something ruthless and efficient. It just made the fear generalized. Not fear the spear, fear the voice, fear the silhouette, Fear anything that smells or sounds human, permanently, automatically, no updates required. That fear got baked into predator behavior across the entire planet, species by species, generation by generation. A psychological force field that still works today, even on animals that have never personally seen a human hunt. So back to the tent, back to 3 a.m. Here's the piece most people miss. You were never as alone as you felt. For nearly all of human history, nobody slept completely unguarded. Groups slept in clusters, fires burned through the night, and research on modern hunter-gatherer societies, like the Hadza in Tanzania, shows something wild. Someone in the group is almost always awake. Not on purpose, not a scheduled shift. Call it the night watch rotation, a natural staggered pattern where different people's sleep cycles overlap just enough that, statistically, the camp is never 100% unconscious at once. But modern humans sleep alone, in silence, no fire, no group. Therefore, the ancient system that made sleep safe mostly isn't running anymore. And yet predator attacks on sleeping humans remain almost vanishingly rare, because the fear response we built into other species over 2 million years didn't disappear. It's still out there, in the dark, doing its job, whether you're awake to witness it or not. But before you feel too safe, here's the part that should bother you. The fear only holds as long as the reputation holds. Zanet and Plinchi's follow-up research found something darker. In regions where humans actively hunt or poach animals, that fear response is even stronger. But in areas where humans no longer pose a real threat, where hunting has stopped, where predators haven't encountered danger from people in generations, the fear starts to fade. But fear that fades doesn't just disappear quietly. Therefore, in a handful of documented regions, as human threat perception drops, predator boldness has measurably increased, animals approaching camps, structures, even towns, in ways older generations of the same species never did. The fear that's kept you safe for 2 million years isn't a law of nature. It's a reputation, and reputations can be lost. So the next time you're lying there at 3 a.m., convinced something is out there in the dark, watching you sleep, you're right, something probably is. And it's more scared of you than you will ever be of it. There is a 400-pound animal standing 11 feet from where you are lying down right now. How long until that stops being true?